gonna have some fun. I'm gonna bring our lead manager that's been working with me for how long? 2 years? 3 years? At least couple. 2 years. Okay, so 2 years. 2 years? Okay, 2 years. I don't know. I lose track of time. 2 years, and now she's transitioned to a acquisition specialist. So she's got promoted to an acquisition specialist, but she is amazing when it comes to talking to sellers. So what I like to do, please give a warm welcome to Gia Riddell. She's our awesome lead manager. And rock of the house. Okay, so first off, when anytime I have a team member and they sign a contract, part of the contract is they have to participate in all of this stuff. Yeah, and I've had people go, I don't know. I was like, hit it, right? So she has been great at doing videos and helping out and being able to deal with me in my control freakishness. But she's better at me than talking on the phone to sellers. So we are going to go through, and there's my computer going here, and we are going to talk to sellers. So when you're talking to a seller, so I'm going to ask you some questions, then we're going to do an exercise, we're going to have some fun. So when you're talking to sellers, do we want to sit down?
Sure.
Okay, we'll sit down. Okay, so when you're talking to sellers, what's your goal?
A couple of things.
I have it on the screen if you don't know what it is.
Oh, please. Let's see. What is my goal? Well, my goal is to establish a rapport, first of all. Once you establish a rapport, you can then kind of go on to what is their problem, because that's what Sean's telling you about over and over and over again, and even when James was up here, is we're here to solve their problem. So that's also your goal, is to find out what that problem is, so then you can hopefully help them with it, fix it, get an appointment, and get that deal.
Okay, so we got a deal that what just funded right now today, and how big was that deal?
Let's see, it ended up being 34.
So a $34,000 deal we just closed today, right, Sean? Okay, closed today, recorded today, and this is one of her first as an acquisition specialist deal. So tell us the history about that deal and how it can tie in what they're going to be doing.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool, and honestly, it sounds like it was made for this, but I swear that this really did happen, that it closed today. And it falls into suit with everything that they've been talking about today as far as follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. This guy had been in Podio since 2015. I kid you not. We had never spoken to him. So he has been text blasts, voicemail blasts. We've been making phone calls and leaving messages. Not a peep out of him, but we just kept on it. He never opted out. He never called. We just left him in there. I would say 3 months ago, he called, and I got the call, and we immediately connected. He had a big problem. He had tenants in there that were kind of a little bit of an issue for him. Mainly it was because the property was run down, and he was getting very nervous about having money come out of his pocket to now maintain the property. So that's
So tell me about the property.
So it's a duplex. Duplex
Slash
Sean?
three slash
Three.
duplex.
It's
a duplex with a nasty house in the back.
But yeah,
right?
it was pretty run down. It had tenants in it. The tenants were paying tenants, but the property was pretty messed up.
Pretty nasty. Lots of repairs.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and as Sean always says, it's going to happen on a Friday. It's going to happen on a Saturday when this comes through. So we'd been talking through the problems, setting up some time. This was all done over the phone, by the way. So I know that a lot of you are going out to appointments, but realize that a lot of this can be done on the phone. If they're ready to rock and roll, then get them get him to sign while you've got him on the phone. And so he did. He called in. We negotiated a price point together, and he signed.
So how many conversations before you agreed on, and what was the acquisition price?
The acquisition price was $82,000.
Okay, so 82. So how many conversations between when the first time he called and you agreed on a price?
I would say we probably had at least 4 to 6 conversations.
Okay, and during those conversations, is it he wanted what and you said this? Because we went back, I think he wanted like 120 or something, right?
No, actually with him it was more of he was wavering now. You know, and I had to say to him, Michael, you're telling me you have wanted, this has been hanging around your neck for how long? You're telling me that you don't want this property anymore. Now why are you kind of wavering about it? Don't you want to get this done? Let's get this done.
Right.
And so he did have a brother that was on the trust with him. And so he's like, well, my brother really wants, you know, I listened. I let him talk. Like, well, what is it that he wants? And because originally my offer was 80. And then he's like, well, he really wants 82. Okay, then let's do it. You signed today.
If I get you 82 today, can we do it today?
Yes, let's do it. And so that's absolutely what ended up happening. And so, and I talked to him over the weekend. I was actually buying furniture at one point, and I'm on the phone with him, like just kind of just guiding him through because he was just nervous. Sometimes they just get a little jittery, like right at the very end. And then it was just that nurturing and until he actually did it.
Right. And then Sean came over, and he literally, I mean, how many people did you have through that place? Over the whole time we had it? Yeah. Probably 30 plus people through the place to get it finally sold. So we bought it or basically contracted it, didn't buy it. What was the earnest money deposit?
Was it 2,500?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we did 1,000 earnest money to make him comfortable. So we did 1,000 earnest money. We had all of our out clauses in the contract, and we got it for 82 and sold it for what? 118, and it'd be about just over 34,000. So base 34,000, and it closed and recorded just an hour ago, right? Today. So that's pretty good. Good job, Gia.
Yay!
So what's something that they can take away from that process and the conversation? How did you pull out his need for finding the issue and the problem?
With him in particular, when he called in, he was kind of chuckling, saying, I just finally decided to call you after being blasted, you know, all these times. So we immediately, that kind of set the stage for it being like kind of a banter, you know, back and forth as far as like, well, what made you call? You know, why did you all of a sudden call? And that opened the door to him to then start discussing what it was about that property that was kind of a albatross for him. You know, he just did not want this property anymore. And that's how we came to the determination of what his problem was and how could we come through and solve it for him. He also was hesitant about wanting to talk to the tenants. So that's another thing. You kind of feel boxed in sometimes as acquisitions or as a leads manager that, well, they don't want to talk to the tenants. I guess it's a dead deal. You know, they're not going to give them 30 days. But Sean's always said, let's try and solve, well, what can we do? You know, can we go and talk to the tenants? Can we tell them? Well, here's where our team came in. Again, his tenants didn't speak English. So I don't speak Spanish. Sean doesn't speak Spanish. But Liz, my other leads manager, speaks Spanish. So she went to the appointment with Sean, talked to the tenants, explained to them that we were going to keep them in place so that they weren't going to get nervous and stop paying my seller, because that, of course, was a concern for him, and that smoothed it out.
No, so they're happy.
Yeah.
Cool. So now, how did you come up with the offer price?
Obviously using REI Automator, checking what kind of properties had sold that were similar, and what properties were for sale, and then we usually do. I just use our, what's the ARV, what's the max that we can, what's Sean going to have to sell it for, and kind of go from there.
Right. So Sean, real quick, how did you? What was the ARV roughly on that? 160. So we got it for roughly 50 cents on the dollar, a property. And this guy was an in-state owner, out-of-state owner.
In-state.
So he was an in-state owner. He was essentially an absentee owner investor, right? But was there any other distress, foreclosure?
No.
Did he have code violations, any of that type of stuff? No. So he was just an out-of-state owner. In-state
yeah.
owner had a duplex that was trashed. And what year is the property built? 1930. So one thing we do is we target houses like 1975, 1980 and below. And the reason why is called a lot of the iBuyer, Zillow, Open Door, OfferPad, these new companies, they focus on the newer style properties. We're looking for properties with serious deferred maintenance. So it gives us a slight edge. So we market to those type of sellers. So it's cool. All right. So that's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Hey.